Today, we're going to be ranking 15 horror remakes, from good to bad and underrated. Let's start with the bad. Coming in at last place is Psycho.
I meant well.
People always mean well.
Now, I appreciate the cast, but Vince Vaughn could never perfect the role of Norman Bates, and the shower scene... I don't know, man. Next up is House of Wax.
It's because you're famous House of Wax.
Let me just let Helen explain.
Wax museums are the only place it's safe to make fun of blind people because they're never here, and if they are, they're perverts.
Next up is Prom Night.
Bridgeport High's prom king and prom queen are...
My issue with this is how it doesn't feel fun. But that's not to say I hated it. I think it's more intense than the original, but it misses the charm and music. Next up is Child's Play.
I said peekaboo.
Now, I know that some people like this, but I don't like how whiny Andy is. Well, the characters are fine, it's just that the original Andy was likable. But I like that Mark Hamill, aka the Joker, voices Chucky.
I told you not to speak!
So that got me hooked. Now, next up is The Omen. It's not that bad. It's just that the original Omen is a masterpiece. This remake is a bit off-putting, since it's was not necessarily shot for shot like Psycho. Well, But personally, I think the party scene in the original is much better. But the remake is still shocking. Now for some underrated stuff. Next up is Friday the 13th.
Oh, Daddy like that?
Yeah, Daddy does like it.
You like that?
I like how they made Jason more tougher and clever, and more intense stuff in it, and much scarier. So I think you should watch for yourself, Next up is The 13th Ghost. Well, some argue it's boring. I think it has a perfect cast. For example, Stu from Scream and Alex from Final Destination. Plus, it got some real nice gore in it. Next up is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Fuck you.
Look, I'm sorry. I know Platinum Dudes made Freddy a pedophile, but let me make my case. I think this remake is more scarier and more intense than the original. Plus, it has some good characters like Rooney Mara and Katie Cassidy from Click.
You blew it!
Besides, it's much better than Freddy's Revenge with that character Jesse.
Shut up, you hoodoo!
Next up is Black Xmas.
Santa Claus is dead.
I think this remake is an improvement because it's got cool gore and cool twists. And we have Mary Elizabeth Winstead from Final Destination 3. So personally, I think it's much better than the Blumhouse version. Next up is Carrie.
Punish!
I explained in my Carrie ranking video that they made Carrie's mom more likable and more understanding and improved stuff. So while it only has a 50% on the Rotten Tomatoes score, it's still good. And speaking of good, here's the best ones. Coming up in 5th place is Texas Chainsaw.
Does anybody care about me and my boy?
What makes this remake good is how Arlie Ermey plays Sheriff Hoyt.
You don't scare me!
And it's more intense than the original. And it's way more grimier and way more scary than the original. So I think it's a win-win for me. Next up is Suspiria. What makes this remake unique is how the ballet scene is really scary. And the costumes are beautiful and very shocking. Next up is Silent Night. A much better improvement and how unique and a unique premise and cool kills and a cool twist as well. And it's kind of a whodunit where, like, there's, like, a whole bunch of people walking around thinking they could be the killer or something.
Not nice.
A much better improvement and how unique and a unique premise and cool kills and a cool twist as well. And it's kind of a whodunit where, like, there's, like, a whole bunch of people walking around thinking they could be the killer or something. So I think you should give it a watch yourself. Next up is Rob Zombie's Halloween. Thinking they could be the killer or something. So I think you should give it a watch yourself. Next up is Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Get the fuck out of my room!
I think Rob Zombie's version is better because it shows a more realistic version of Michael Myers' origin and how Laurie is related to him. And its sequel is awesome. But coming in first place is It.
Well, vote down here.
I mean, how could it not? Not only is this the highest grossing horror film, it has a great cast and very scary and emotional moments. I believe Bill Skarsgård's performance is a masterpiece, you know what I mean? But that's it. That's all of them ranked, and I hope you like them. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and Happy New Year. See ya!